Welcome back to the Explainer. So, you probably saw the thumbnail for this one. A massive King Cobra, hood fully flared out, right alongside the question, the deadliest snake. Well, today we're actually going to decode that legendary reputation. We're looking at the world's longest venomous snake to uncover the reality behind its lethal bite. Because, as you'll see, the King Cobra isn't just a scary snake. It's honestly a fascinating biological marvel.
So, let's jump right in and confront the big question that strikes fear into so many of us. Why is the King Cobra so dangerous? We're going to examine whether this apex predator truly lives up to its terrifying legendary status out in the wild, or, if there's actual, hard science backing up all that terror.
Just to put its lethality into perspective for you, and this is wild, a single defensive bite from a large adult can deliver enough neurotoxic venom to drop a full-grown elephant, or, if we're talking humans, up to 20 people. From just one bite, that sheer volume is absolutely staggering, and it's the main reason untreated bites have such an incredibly high mortality rate. In some cases, death can literally happen in as little as 30 minutes, just due to complete respiratory failure.
Moving on to anime and intelligence.
Because the danger, it's not just in the venom. Take their auditory warning, for example. Normally, you expect a snake to give a high-frequency hiss, usually somewhere between 3,000 and 13,000 hertz. But the King Cobra, it uses these specialized tracheal pouches to produce a terrifying low-frequency growl. It registers at under 2,500 hertz, meaning it actually sounds way more like an angry dog than a reptile. It literally vibrates right into the chest of whatever's approaching to tell it to back off.
And their intelligence is just as formidable. Unlike most reptiles, King Cobras show some really remarkable cognitive behaviors. Get this, they're the only snake that actually builds a nest out of leaf litter, and they fiercely guard it for weeks. Plus, researchers have noticed they use their Jacobson's organ, that's a sensory receptor in the roof of their mouth, to recognize and remember individual human handlers just by their scent alone. They aren't reacting blindly, they're calculating and adapting their hunting strategies based on past experiences.
Next up, a complex of 4 kings.
So, just when science thought we had this brilliant predator figured out, we got thrown a massive curveball. A major taxonomic revision in 2024 revealed that the King Cobra isn't just a single species spread out across Asia. Nope, it is actually a complex of 4 distinct species shaped by different Asian geographies. So now we have the northern, Sunda, western Ghats, and Philippine King Cobras. And this evolutionary split explains so much about the incredible variations we see in their behaviors, their looks, and, crucially, their venom.
Which brings us to the lethal bite. To understand why an encounter with any of those 4 species can be fatal, we really have to look at the sheer mechanics of their venom delivery. If you look at LD50 values, where a lower number means a more lethal venom, snakes like the inland taipan are technically far more toxic drop for drop. But the King Cobra makes up for it with a staggering maximum venom yield of up to 1,000 milligrams in a single bite. That insane capacity to just overwhelm a system with massive quantities of neurotoxins, that's what makes it so exceptionally deadly.
And this massive payload fuels a pretty devastating hunting strategy. Usually, the King Cobra rears up to 1/3 of its total body length, which, terrifyingly, puts it right about at eye level with a human. When they strike, they secure a prolonged bite-and-hold grip. Clamping down with half-inch fangs, they use mechanical pressure to rapidly pump those massive venom quantities deep into muscle tissue. This paralyzes their prey, which, amazingly enough, is mostly other venomous snakes, before the prey even has a chance to strike back.
Next section, the anti-venom gap.
But what happens if a human takes that massive venom payload? Well, you run straight into a severe medical challenge known as the anti-venom gap. Right now, the only specific commercially available King Cobra antivenom is made using venom from snakes in Thailand. So the gap happens because this Thai antivenom becomes drastically less effective when doctors try to treat bites from the genetically and geographically different King Cobra populations over in China or Indonesia.
The stark reality of this gap comes down to chemistry. The venoms from China and Indonesia are basically twice as lethal to mice, sitting at a lower LD50 of 0.50 when compared to the Thai venom at 1.04. Because the standard Thai antivenom doesn't perfectly match these highly potent foreign venoms, doctors are basically forced to use extreme measures to compensate and try to save the patient's life.
And to put a number on those extreme measures, 115. In some severe cases involving these regional venoms, patients have literally required an astonishing 115 vials of antivenom to counteract a single bite.
Administering a desperate dosage that massive is incredibly risky, mostly because it dramatically increases the chance of the patient suffering from a life-threatening allergic reaction, like acute anaphylaxis.
And finally, conserving the king. Yet despite being armed with these massive venom reserves, huge intelligence, and an intimidating stature, this apex predator is steadily losing its grip on survival. When we ask, why is it so dangerous, you might picture a terrifying monster. But the truth kind of flips that narrative on its head. These typically placid snakes are being driven into conflict with humans, mostly due to severe habitat loss from deforestation, along with poaching for the illegal pet trade. They're actually officially listed as a vulnerable species now. So it leaves us with a provocative question about coexistence. As they are pushed closer and closer to our doorsteps, who is the real threat to whom? Definitely something to think about next time you see this incredible biological marvel. And on that note, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.